Hello students. Welcome to today's lesson where we'll delve into an essential part of geometry, understanding parallel and perpendicular lines and how to construct them using a compass. Here's the plan for today's lesson. Firstly, we will review how lines can intersect and introduce the terminology we will use to describe these interactions. Then we will walk through how to construct these lines using tools such as a compass. Understanding these kinds of lines allows us to describe geometric problems more accurately. For example, let's imagine we need to design a city square's layout, ensuring walkways intersect correctly to form right angles, allowing easy navigation. Without clear definitions and methods for constructing these lines, communicating and planning efficiently would be challenging. So without further ado, let's get started and explore the fascinating world of geometry together. Let's start by discussing how lines can intersect. The first example we will look at are simply called intersecting lines. These lines meet at a point, and the angles formed at this intersection can vary depending on the lines. Next, we'll look at parallel lines. These lines are different in that they never meet, no matter how far they are extended. They run in the same direction and always maintain the same distance apart. To visualize this, imagine train tracks. They run side by side and never cross. If line AB is parallel to line CD, we write it as ABCD, with two small parallel lines in between. Next, we'll look at perpendicular lines. These lines intersect at a right angle, which, as we know, is 90 degrees. To visualize this, think of the corners of a piece of paper. Each corner of the paper forms a right angle where the two edges meet. If line EF is perpendicular to line GH, we write it as EF, GH with a small set of perpendicular lines in between. Now let's move on and explore how we can construct these different types of lines. To construct parallel lines, we use the following procedure. Draw an initial line and mark a point on it. We'll call this point P. Next, choose another point which is not on this line and mark it. We'll call this point Q. Place your compass at point P and draw an arc which crosses both the initial line as well as line PQ. Maintain the distance of the compass and draw a similar arc from point Q. Now, using the first arc you drew, set your compass to the distance between our initial line and the line PQ. Maintain that compass distance and draw another arc from point Q that crosses the original arc drawn there. Now draw a line that crosses through point Q and the point of intersection of the two arcs. This line is parallel to our initial line. To construct perpendicular lines, we use the following procedure. Draw an initial line and mark a point on it. We'll call this point R. Using a compass, draw two arcs from point R, one on each side of the point. Let's label these points of intersection A and B. Now widen your compass and draw two intersecting arcs above point R. One arc should be drawn from point A and the other from point B. Now draw a line from point R through the arc intersection. This line is perpendicular to our initial line. In today's lesson, we explored the concepts of parallel and perpendicular lines, crucial for understanding geometric relationships and constructions. We began by discussing how lines can intersect, identifying three main types: intersecting lines, which meet at a point; parallel lines, which never meet and remain equidistant; and perpendicular lines, which intersect at a right angle. We then moved on to practical construction techniques. For parallel lines, we used a step-by-step method involving drawing arcs with a compass to ensure equidistance. For perpendicular lines, we employed arcs to create intersecting points that guide the perpendicular line through an initial point. By mastering the use of protractors and compasses to construct and verify parallel and perpendicular lines, you are now better prepared to tackle more complex geometric challenges in future lessons. Let's continue practicing with these essential tools.